Hello, hello. Welcome back to Hey Boo Women's Network at our Meet a Boo sister. My name is Mary Grace Iniguez, and I'm the founder of Hey Boo. And I'm super excited because I have another sister that we get to interview today, and you get to know more of. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Shelly Phillips, who is the founder and CEO of Olive Tree Growth Partners in Las Vegas. But don't let that fool you because she can serve wherever you are. So, Shelly, please welcome on aboard.
Oh, well, thank you. It's a pleasure being here, and I'm looking forward to
Yes, I'm
it.
super excited. When I first met you, we had conversations about different things, and so now I'm excited to bring you on for all the other sisters to get to know you and also have the opportunity to book that connection call with you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, this is great. This is great. Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. So, Shelly, I know you are in the accounting sector. You will explain more because that's not my sector. And so,
Right.
this is an important category, industry for every business, and
Yes.
especially for small business who think that they don't need it. So, I want to get to know more about you and also how they can get connected with you. So, tell us more about Shelly first. Tell us more about you. You're in Las Vegas, how you got there, what you love to do, all the things.
Sure, sure. Well, I'm originally from the East Coast. I grew up in Pennsylvania, and being out here, people tell me they can tell by my accent. I didn't realize I had one.
I think it's beautiful. I love it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. But yeah, so I grew up in a town called Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, the county of Lancaster. And I lived there for about, let's see here, 30 years. And then the Lord had me come out to Las Vegas. So I packed up my car and drove, not having a job set up, not having housing set up. And
Wow.
it was just a leap of faith because God told me to do it. So yeah, so that's a lot like the entrepreneurial journey, because we take that leap of faith, just having this dream and this vision, and wanting to, get to work and do it, and because that's where our heart is at. So yeah, the experience that I've been through has I compare it a lot to that entrepreneurial journey. It for me it hasn't been easy, and I'm sure every business owner can say the same thing. But then that's what life is about.
Yeah.
It's ups and downs, and it's putting your faith in what you believe in, and just really going for it, and making it happen, and helping the people that you're supposed to help along the way.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That's exactly what I believe in regards to just having faith in whatever it is that you believe
Yes.
in life. But especially as entrepreneurs, we have to have faith in something because this stuff can get a little rocky on some days. And you
Yeah.
mentioned the ups and the downs, but what's great about it is when you do hit a down, there is an up on the other side of that
That
mountain.
is so true. That's so true. Because, with those down, let's call them seasons,
Hmm.
that, it's just an opportunity to grow and for you to figure out what you need to figure out. And every business goes through them. And there are challenges that come our way. But, that's just something that we have to, work through, and figure out and see what direction and what path that we're going in. And sometimes it might be a time for a change, and certain things of that nature. But yeah, I kind of talk about this, and I'll kind of bring this up now. I'm coming out with a book next month, and so I kind of talk about that in more depth in the book. And so yeah, so that'll be exciting to see that happen. And kind of like it's been my life's journey, so especially being in business for 20 years. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. And so I'm out here in sunny Las Vegas, Nevada. And so I enjoy the climate of the West Coast a lot better than the East Coast. So it was no problem when I was directed to move out here by God, and He said, go to Vegas. And I was like, all right.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
So obviously I'm from Vegas. I don't live there
Yep.
currently, but I'm from there. And
Yeah.
one of the biggest questions is like, how do you handle the heat? Was it a big difference in your move?
Oh no, I was freezing all the time in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
All the time I was cold. The
Okay.
summers weren't even hot enough for me. And then you
Oh,
had the
wow.
humidity,
Yeah.
which was an extra little thing.
Mm.
And, so when you had the humidity come on, there was no fullness in the hair, no
Yeah.
nothing. The makeup, the makeup slid off, all that kind of stuff.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's very entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually love the dry heat and I love
Okay.
the sunshine and the warm weather. So that
Oh,
really suited me very, very well. And, my parents tried to get me to move back. I said, you're crazy.
so they're still in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Yeah, they're still in Pennsylvania.
Can't get them to move to Vegas, I guess.
No, no, they're a little bit set in their ways, so to
Yeah.
speak, and well, they're in their 80s too, so that would be
Yeah.
that would be a huge thing for
That's
them,
really
and
awesome.
yeah.
Wow. 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 All right. So tell us more about Olive Tree Growth Partners in your business.
Okay, well, Olive Tree Growth Partners was actually, it was actually named by God. He told me to name the business that, and it's founded on the premise of the olive tree. And if you're familiar with that from a spiritual standpoint, is that olive trees are very robust. They actually they grow in the desert.
Mm.
And an interesting statistic about the olive tree is that even when there's a forest fire that sweeps over, let's just say Israel, because that's the premise of the olive tree and where it comes from, they don't have to worry about replanting the olive tree. It grows back on its own. So
Whoa.
that's significant, and so that I really didn't and sometimes we don't have everything figured out all up front as business owners. So I didn't realize with naming the business this name what it really meant, and so I kind of dig a little bit deeper in the book about that and about the olive tree and the significance of it and the strength that comes from it. And so that's what I help my clients with, because they don't have all the answers in business. And a lot of times they're just kind of like going with the flow and winging it and that sort of thing. And in addition to the accounting piece that I bring to my clients, I also bring in operational management. Because I worked on the operational side, my bachelor's degree is in hotel, restaurant, and institutional management. So, I'm kind of a numbers people person,
Yeah.
if you want to think of it that way. And
Hey, that's unique.
yeah, very unique. Yeah. People meet me and they're like, how can you be an accountant?
Yeah, they normally want to be like behind the desk, take
Yeah.
care of the numbers, and don't bother me.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing is that I was starting when I went to college, I started out in accounting.
Hmm.
And I couldn't imagine myself being behind a desk. So I went to go see the guidance advisor at the time, and they did all these tests on me, and they said, you're a people person. You belong in hospitality. So that's the piece that the piece that I bring along into my accounting firm
Hmm.
is one of the most important things to me is the relationship that I have with my clients. So that's very important. I am very hands-on and really help the clients because a lot of them, feel lost when it comes to the accounting piece because, no business owner that I know of has gone through, and gotten their accounting education and background and also in taxation and all this other stuff that goes along with it.
Hmm.
And so I help a lot of my clients with that, but then also the operational piece and that goes along with it and keeping them compliant with, not only the IRS, but different city and state agencies as well. So yeah.
Ah, that is definitely important in our businesses.
Hmm.
You spoke about, relationship is important to you in regards to you and your
Yes.
client. And I agree 100% being on the other end. Especially when you're dealing with someone's money and private information that, a lot of people don't want to talk about. It's like showing your underbelly type of thing.
Yeah.
So building that relationship definitely builds the trust and being able to
Yes.
go to you and be like, hey, I have all this craziness. Can you help me fix
Hmm.
it? And how can we do it better? So I know that one of your offerings is the fractional CFO. Can you share
Yes.
with us more what that entails and who would that be for?
Sure, sure. It would be for growing companies. I would
Mhm,
say that have an annual revenue of at least 500,000 a year.
mhm.
And it's for companies that really want to grow to the next level. They've already established themselves. They're not, brand spanking new micro companies, but they're already been in business for probably a couple years, and really depending on the company. And they're already generating revenue, and they're seeing this growth. And now they really need to figure out how to grow to the next level,
Mhm.
and they want to have a plan in place to do that, a roadmap per se, because so many businesses just think accounting is just there for their books and that's it, to file their
Yep.
taxes. But it's so much more than that. And what we do in the CFO advisory is that we use those numbers and we drill down on those numbers and use those numbers as a tool to help a business grow and for them to accomplish not only their business goals, but those business goals are tied to their personal goals as
Yes.
well. For example, maybe they wanted to make sure that they take a 2 week vacation every
Mhm.
year so they can refuel and recharge and spend that time with the family and just get away, because we all need rest. And so that's so very important. So we got to plan for those sort of things and making sure that you have things covered from a revenue perspective as well as an internal control perspective. So CFO advisory might come into play with internal controls. So making sure you have standard operating procedures in place, making sure
Mhm.
you have different things to reduce risk so your company is not exposed. And and then of course, the premise of advisory is, and using the numbers, is to make sure you have sound bookkeeping in place, because that's the first step. So, and these things build upon one another, and we work with the business owner one on one to achieve the goals that they want to have. And so because success means something different to every business owner. So we
Mhm.
define what those goals are and then work with that business owner to achieve them. And it's called fractional CFO because traditionally a business could only afford a CFO, and that stands for Chief Financial Officer, if they were a corporation, a large company that could afford a couple $100,000 a year in a salary for that position, paying someone full time. Well, small to mid-sized businesses don't have that luxury because they're trying to get to an area, a level of growth
Mhm.
that's their business is going to be generating some good net profit. So we want to get them to that level. So we do it on a fractional end of it, where it's it's not going to be a full time position.
Mhm.
It's going to be we come in as an independent contractor and we work with you one on one. And the nice thing about it is it doesn't take up a lot of time from the business owner's perspective. We have a once a month meeting where we're going over some things. There might be some, objectives for the business owner to do before the next month meeting, and they can easily delegate that to their staff as well. And so it's really a good opportunity for a business to really work with a financial professional that can give them the keys to get their business growing and get it profitable. Because the unfortunate statistic is that only 50% of businesses see their fifth birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on a mission to change that because I want, there's a reason why an entrepreneur got into business in the first place. It's not to die after 5 years. It's to keep on going and growing and helping the people that you desire to help and serve.
Ah, I love it. That's our mission. So, Social Register Network, the larger, of course,
Wonderful.
the empire of Hey Boo, our
Yeah.
mission is to crush the statistic of 50% of businesses failing in the first 5 years.
Wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so important.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
so important. And I think in this economy, this day and age, that, we really need to take, the growth of the business seriously because
Hmm.
it's not just as easy as just doing one thing or if you have money to advertise and all this stuff. It's
No.
not that easy. You have to look at the internal
Hmm.
mechanisms. You have to look at the numbers. And so many business owners are lost when it comes to that because they don't understand the numbers. They don't understand what they mean and they don't know how to use the numbers as a tool.
Hmm.
So that's where I can, come in and provide that value to a business.
Do you have any current services, workshops, any resources perhaps for anyone who maybe is not at 500,000 yet, but they're trying to grow to six figures? I know
Mhm.
that we have a lot of business owners who maybe are in the 100,000 but want to get to 250 and then 250
Right,
to the 500, of course. Do you have
right,
any
right.
resources?
Oh, there's an array of resources that I have. So I have a lot of things planning up and coming.
Okay.
And one of those things will probably be putting together some classes in a group setting
Hmm.
so that, we can, deliver that information because it's taking a look at your financials. It's, and budgeting is a big part of it. And
Hmm.
most of the time when people hear the word budget, they're like, oh no, I don't want to cut anything. But the nice thing about starting from the perspective of a budget is saying, okay, well, this is this, and I don't even call it a budget, I call it a target. Okay, this is
Hmm.
what our target is. And comparing this against what your actual numbers were for the month. So you can see what's the difference of the two, which is called a variance.
Hmm.
And you can see, okay, now if we keep on this path at the end of the year, this is what the numbers are going to look like.
Yep.
And is that is that does that make you happy? Is that the path you want to be on? Or do you want to be on a different path? Do you want to increase those numbers?
Hmm.
So, yeah, so we can do something in that nature. And because cash flow is the lifeline of a business, because if a business doesn't have access to consistent positive cash flow, their hands are tied.
Yep.
And we want to make sure because, you've heard that expression, cash is king.
Hmm.
And so, we want to make sure that they have that positive cash flow coming into their business. And that's not as simple as saying, I have a good amount of net profit because it's two separate conversations there.
Yeah.
So really, I'm a big educator. So I love educating my clients on, how these things work so they have an understanding of them and not just kind of like going through business from a financial standpoint, just aimlessly and just kind of
Yeah.
wandering around and that sort of thing, because we really need to take a deeper dive into things. And so we know, if we do this, then this kind of outcome is going to arise from those actions. So.
That is so great. My actual fractional CFO, she came on board 3 years ago because my first year was during pandemic. I bought social. My husband and I purchased Social Register during right before pandemic, and then it shut down.
Yeah.
And I had a business coach at the time as well, so I hired a business coach that was pretty hefty. And I remember I didn't have a fractional CFO at the time. We had an accountant because I bought the company, so the accounting department came with,
Oh,
and
sure.
I was the COO, so I didn't really look at that stuff. I was in charge of
Yeah.
ops and marketing and all that. And
Right.
I remember the first year, I won't even count COVID really, but the
Right.
first year where we opened up, my coach was like, okay, I need you to draw, and she had me draw up my actual, like a chart, a
Mhm.
graph for my actual and then my budget, and then she's the one who actually, not that she taught me, but put it in perspective so I can see it physically on paper
Mhm.
and see like, this is the money coming in, this is your budget. Do you want to increase this so you can get this? Or the goals basically. And
Right.
that's how I was physically able to understand it from my perspective.
Right.
And I just remember when you mentioned the actual and the budget, I was like, oh yeah, I
Mhm.
remember that day. She had me draw it all up and then she had me plug my numbers in. And and that helped me so much because as a business owner, I'm not the expert in accounting. I'm the expert in marketing and I stay in my lane.
Right. Right.
Um, and that's why we do hire the experts. But it is important as a business owner to actually know some stuffs, to know the surface level things
Mhm.
so that you know who you're hiring is an expert, but also you know your numbers. We shouldn't be like
Right.
rolling around blind here. Just
Right.
because we don't have, we can't, not at the journey yet to hire a
Yeah.
CFO. We should know how to do it at a level where we know where our numbers are and where we want to be. What I love
Right.
about hiring a fractional CFO in the last 3 years is exactly what you said in regards to she was able to look at all my different departments and then
Mm.
tell me, okay, where do you want to spend more money? Your money is being spent here. That's doing freaking awesome for you because this is what's happening. So let's spend
Yeah.
more money there. Or do you
Yeah.
want to launch another division of your company? Or do you want to pull this out and make it its own company? So I was able basically to grow and expand because I had a CFO point the things out to me and actually tell me also if my offerings uh, were offering because she'll pull all the numbers out and if that wasn't doing well and it was really just costing us more money to put it out there and market this offer, then we were able to
Yeah.
pull it out and no longer
Right,
offer it.
right,
Yeah.
right. And sometimes those type of items, sometimes they take time.
Yes.
They don't happen overnight,
No.
and but we have to realize, okay, under this certain period of time, are you getting that ROI
Yeah.
for your investment? And that's very important because you just don't want to, keep on exhausting funds
Exactly.
and so there are, I talk about this in the book as well. There are what are called, profit drivers and cash flow drivers, and those are the financial elements that we use to improve. And so we know what needs, we can evaluate those things and we know what needs to be improved and we can work on them. And the nice thing about what I do is that, I like to provide visuals for business
Hmm.
owners because it's easier for them to understand. Instead of just looking at this report filled with numbers and it really doesn't mean anything. But if they can see a visual,
Hmm.
comparing, against, well, this is where your business is right now, and this is where it's heading in, and
Yeah.
these are the areas in need of improvement, and that sort of
Hmm.
thing. I offer to everyone a free financial assessment where I'll go through that and take a look at their books and see, really where they're going and have that conversation even before, they would want to, engage my services at all.
Yeah.
I'd like to give that to business owners just so they know. And even if they say, okay, well, I'm just fine where I want to be at right now, and that's fine, but at least they have the information in front of them so that they can make an informed decision about it and they know the financial health of their company. So that's vitally important.
Yes, it is. It is very vital for not only your company, but for you as a business owner. And
Mm-hmm.
I can talk all about this all day with you because it's so important for me to express to business owners so that they understand that it doesn't matter if it's accounting, marketing, whatever, you need to know the surface level things, but also hire the experts. Stop
Yes.
trying to stop trying to piece things together.
Yeah, that's so important.
And
And or even I see this all the time. It's just ignoring the numbers and thinking they're going to get better.
oh
You
God.
know. Yeah.
I mean, even in your personal life, that doesn't happen. Like a business just has to the
Hmm.
so no,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
not do
Exactly.
that. All right. So Tell us more about what inspired you to launch your business because I can just hear it in your passion and obviously your
Mm.
wealth of information. So tell us how you got, why you got inspired to start your business.
Well, I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit of just really being handed things to figure out.
Mhm.
And so I guess that kind of started at a very young age. And then after I moved out here to Vegas, well, prior to that, I was working for 5 years at this agency. It was a governmental agency that was building a rather large hotel and convention center. It was a $200 million
Wow.
Marriott and convention center in the downtown area, and I was working as an office manager and accountant. And I, worked directly with the CPA, and because we were audited every year, so
Mhm.
And then when I moved out here, I worked with different accounting firms, different CPAs, and I just saw that I had one of those life-changing experiences.
Mhm.
I was working for a firm, and someone walked in, and they were in a panic because they received a letter from the IRS and they needed to get their taxes done. And the office manager at the time, she just said, "This is the price." And she said, and the guy just broke down in tears. And it just broke my heart. And she was unwilling to help him.
Wow.
And that's really what defined everything for me, because she reiterated, well, that's the price, and there's the door you choose. And
Mhm.
that was just so cold to me. And, she didn't offer anything, no payment arrangements, no nothing. It was just kind of cutthroat. And I was just like, I just knew at that moment that I'm going to learn everything I need to learn. And I'm going to do this on my own and help business owners. So that's really, the premise. I kind of, characterize it as I have a love for numbers and for people. So that's what I bring to my business and the relationship with my clients, because I actually go far and beyond, what is normal for the industry to help my clients, because I really care about them as individuals, as people, as business owners. And I really want to see them succeed, and I'll do anything within my power to help them to do that. And so, yeah, I just have a real strong heart for people, and so that was my really defining moment, and to really to operate my business with a heart,
Mhm.
because we're in business to serve other business owners, and that's what I look at it as, is that that ability to serve and help others.
Yeah, that's the difference with just having a business to make money and then actually
Yes.
serving others.
Yes.
How
Yes.
how are we helping them?
Right. Right. Exactly.
What's one thing you wish people knew more about your business, especially in the accounting?
How very important it is,
Mhm.
because you don't want to wait until you get the letter from the IRS,
Yeah.
because by that time you're almost to the point where it's too late.
Mm.
And I don't want to sound like doom and gloom, but at the same sense, if the letter, and keep in mind, you're always going to get a letter from the IRS. The IRS is never going to call or text you before they send a letter first. Because there are a lot of scams going on out there. And so oftentimes people get this letter from the IRS and it's panic. It's heart attack city.
Mhm.
So you don't want to do that. You don't want to wait until, because I was helping a client recently that she hadn't filed her taxes in 10 years.
Oh.
And the IRS, if you do that, has the right to assess what the tax return should be. So, because they can access your bank accounts and
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Mhm.
So they sent her this huge tax bill, and then she has to run around finding a tax attorney. She had to find me. We had to get caught up on the book, 10 years worth of books. Yeah. for a business owner that had multiple rental properties and and had to track things per property and all the back and forth with finding out how to categorize the transactions and different things. Yeah, it was a lot of work. And and when you're and then you don't want that because fear sets in.
Yes.
And it's you're feeling the pressure and you're feeling the stress, and that brings a lot of toll on the body itself, let alone your relationships and that sort of thing. So you want to keep at the very, very least compliance, and that's what bookkeeping is compliance.
Yeah.
But whether you do the books on your own or whether you have a firm doing them or someone on the outside, all you're given is these numbers, and you're most likely just given a profit and loss statement and balance sheet. You may not be given the statement of cash flows, and that's telling you the flow of that cash going in and out of your business, and let alone do you understand it. So that is, that's basic, and every business should have that since day one when the doors open.
Yes.
And the thing of it is that it's so easy to start a business, especially in Las Vegas. We're one of those states that, the state makes it very easy, no state tax as far as income is concerned. And so it's very easy to start a business, but unfortunately business owners think, oh, well, I'll get to the books later, and it's just vital. It's key. And, and so really, as far as what do I want people to know is that they need to really, really be taking that deeper dive into those numbers. And if they can, if they do have the option of having someone doing it from a CFO advisory standpoint, go for it, because it's going to bring the business more value than you've even realized. And it's not necessarily just teaching you to show you the numbers, but it's also showing you, well, this is what we need to do to grow your business. Because most businesses, they want to grow because they either want to hand it down to the kids, they want to sell it one day, or there may be some other reasons in there too that they, in some businesses they think that are not sellable. They think, well, I'm never going to sell my business, or I'm never going to you put my business on the stock market, or whatever the case may be. And it's always going to be privately held. And but, the business, it has to continue on. So there are certain things that need to be in place for that to happen, because, we're talking about things that you have a vision, and you want that vision to live on from not only your generation, but future generations as well. And that's so very important, because I talk to my friends who help businesses sell their business owners sell their business. And I can't even tell you how many tell them so many of those businesses are unsellable.
Oh, wow.
And even if they're sold, they can be sold, they're never going to get the price that the business owner thinks the business is worth, because there's so much that goes into it. So some of them would be great if, they could build up this business, and after X amount of years sell it, take that check, go to the Bahamas, and peace out.
Enjoy the life and everything that you built into this business, and that will check.
Exactly. Take early retirement, or just retirement. Some people aren't even prepared for that. So it's so very, very important that we start working with these numbers, and instead of ignoring them or being scared by them. There are professionals out there that will help business owners with that, and so that they can really, it's really about growing to the next level. And I know that there are many different ways to do it. Marketing is an important component of that. Yeah, and but you really cultivating those numbers and growing them to the level that you want them to be in, because we don't, whoever knew that COVID was going to hit. Who could have predicted that? No one.
Not in a million years. Like the world
Yeah,
shutting down.
exactly.
Yeah.
And not only when it hit, but the aftermath
After.
of it.
Yes.
And we're still
Yes.
dealing with the
We're
aftermath of
still
it.
all rebuilding.
Yeah,
Rebuilding.
and really see that, even before that, people could get away with just doing the books, just filing, being in compliant for year end. It's not that way anymore.
No.
It's changed. So we really got to get ahead of the game here and really, because I talk about this a lot, and that is that, your numbers tell a story. They tell the financial story of your business, and they can tell you where you're headed. And if you don't like the direction that you're headed in, we can work together and change that.
Yeah.
Or improve it, and help you get you to the place that you want to be. And that's the nice thing. Bookkeeping won't do that. Bookkeeping is historical. It's after the transactions have occurred, then this is the result of that. But we want to do things like, like this budgeting, or I call it targets. And we want to do cash flow, and we want to do forecasting. Because forecasting is saying, okay, this is where we're headed. This is what the picture looks like. So is that picture okay? And can we improve it? Because we always want to be growing, even in life. We don't want to stay in the same spot that we're at. We want to be growing. We want to be improving ourselves as, professionals and individuals. And so it's a great opportunity for businesses to really to take it to the next level and really fulfill the vision of their company. That's how I look at it as.
I say, even if you just got started, to talk to a professional like Shelly, especially as women. This is how you're going to create wealth. And I don't mean
Yes.
wealth as in billion-dollar, multi-seven-figure business. Wealth means different for everyone.
Yes.
But if you're wanting
Yes.
to create financial freedom, you're trying to buy a home, you're trying to leave your 9 to 5, having an expert like Shelly will be able to allow you to put in goals, put in a plan. What
Right.
kind of what really helped me too was like how much I should be pricing my packages at.
Oh, yeah.
If I
Yeah.
wanted X and I
Oh.
didn't want 10,000 clients, well, then my packages needed to be a certain amount. And that gave me my target of how many clients I wanted for X amount of months or whatever, quarter or year, to get
Right.
to my goals. And that is something Shelly would do. That's what my CFO did for me.
Yeah.
And
That's very important.
I
Yeah.
think it's super important. It doesn't matter if you're not making 20,000, 50,000. I think even in the beginning, to just be educated and know, hey, my goal, let's say you're not making that yet, and your goal is your first 6 figures within the first year, whatever.
Sure.
You meet with Shelly, and then she can look at your offer. She can look at all the different things that you have going on and be like, hey, girl, you're not going to get there in a year. You're probably going to get there in 5 years.
Well,
Simple
and
things.
even if it's something just like the business owner, I could give them tools to do the budget on their own.
Yes.
They can do it on their own. And then when they grow believe me, when they grow to the level that they would want to bring in a CFO, they don't want to be doing that anymore, because they want to be concentrated on operating their business in conjunction with growing it in the form of sales. Because, opening up additional products, additional service lines, that's what they want to do, because, you got to get the revenue in.
Yep.
At the same time, the answer isn't cutting all the expenses, because you need those expenses from a taxation standpoint, and you also need them from an operational standpoint, because you got to pay people. You can't be doing it all on your own. That's called burnout. So you do have to delegate. You do have to outsource. And sometimes that's very difficult for people. And and also having that strategic advisor in place to bounce ideas off of.
Yes.
To say, okay, this is what I'm thinking, Shelly. Do you think that this would lead me in the direction that I want to go in? Mm-hmm. Or I need this in my business. Who do you know? That's why networking is so important. And having those trusted, I call them strategic partners, that you can say, oh, are you struggling in your business or in your home life right now because of the toll that the business is taking on you? Like, this is a common thing with business owners. Their personal life suffers. Because think about it. I mean, as a business owner, this is your baby. I know mine is. And, you have to, things have to be sacrificed. You don't want to say it, but that's reality. There are things that have to be sacrificed, or should we say things have to be managed, even on the home front. And maybe, the relationship is suffering, the marriage is suffering because of the business. Well, I want to say, oh, well, you can go to this person for marriage counseling, whatever it is, whatever it is, because, and there are other things to take into consideration too because what I do is, we're talking about the business finances, but it overflows into the personal finances.
Yes.
Maybe that business owner, because of the way things are set up with financing, and so many times that, the business owner's credit from, their social has to be looked at for business financing. And you got to make sure that credit's in order, and you're not upside down with that. And, and different things. So getting that in order as well. And, and whether it be just, other things in planning for the future, like retirement, getting into the right product for that, for not only you, but for your employees, for your business as a whole, how to, from a strategic standpoint, how to reduce your tax liability. That's so vitally important.
Everyone wants to know that.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so many things to, that come into play. If you ask a question to an accountant, here's a little joke. You always get one answer. And the answer is, it depends. For everything, because it's not just a simple yes or no answer. We need to look at so much more, because everything is intertwined, interrelated. And that's why the way it is when you go see your tax guy comes tax time. He's not just, you can't just hand him in the financial reports and he's going to say, this is what your refund is, or this is what you owe the IRS. He's going to say, it depends. And he says, I now need to look at your personal side. Yeah. I need to see your business filing type. There's so many different things. And so that's one of the nice things about what I do that's really beyond things is that not only do I know from the financial standpoint, I also know taxation. I've actually sat for all 3 sections of the enrolled agent exam, and the enrolled agent exam is that test that the IRS will give a tax professional. It's kind of it's compared to a CPA, and so it's basically the IRS's CPA exam, and so I have that tax knowledge, and even if I cannot advise from a taxation standpoint, I will tell them, you need to talk to your tax person about this. And if they're not helping you with tax planning, we need to get you the right tax professional who is going to help you with tax planning, because it's gone are the days where it's just all I need to do is file my tax return at the end of the year. Yeah, we need to plan. Yeah, and that's so important. We're talking about goals, we're talking about achieve certain things, but we're
Yes.
never going to do that without a plan.
No.
We just can't wing it.
Mm. Nope. It's
So
important
yeah,
when you're trying to even buy a car and buy a
yeah,
house. Like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
need all
So
those things in order.
yeah, yeah.
So,
So I know you asked me before, how can people contact me, and they
yes.
can through, my email address is Shelly, Shelly, at olivetreegrowthpartners.com. And that's the name of my website, olivetreegrowthpartners.com. I have an array of information on my website,
Perfect.
so everyone can read up.
Hmm. Hmm.
And in the near future, I'll be putting videos on there, so it's a little bit more interactive. There is a button at the upper right-hand corner of the page that says book a right fit call. And that is really scheduling an appointment with me through my Calendly link, and seeing, having a conversation. It's complimentary.
Hmm.
And then, we'll talk about, what you're trying to achieve, and if we think that it's a good fit between the two of us to work together, and there's no charge for that conversation. So because I really take that as an opportunity to inform business owners, because I'm what you call a straight shooter. I will be very, very honest
Yep.
and tell you,
I love
this is
that.
what.
Don't
Yeah,
even make
and you need
bluff.
that. You need that. You can't have someone just, sugarcoating
No,
things, and
especially when it comes to money. Like, just let me know.
right. Of course, I will
Are
always
we
put
broke?
that in way. But sometimes we need that tough love to say,
Yeah.
okay, this is what you're looking at right now.
Hmm. Yep.
And if you keep on this track,
Yep.
then this is what the future looks like, and do you want to change that or not?
Yeah.
Because we do have to plan for the future. I mean, even as business owners, think about it. If you have kids, you got to plan for that. You got to plan for those expenses, and or if you have to help the parents one day, you got to plan for that stuff.
Hmm.
So you got to plan for vacation or whatever the case may be. So yeah, planning is vitally important.
Ah, Shelly, you are awesome. You have so much wealth of information, and you all heard her website. I will make sure to have all that information in the description so they can check out your resources, but also get connected to you and see if you all are the right fit, but also talk to you again. If you just started your business this year, yesterday, please reach out to Shelly, because I am a big believer is that's actually the best time to reach out versus
Yeah,
being all up in the mess for a year or 2 years and then trying to pull
right,
things, untangle them. That's a mess.
right,
So
right,
definitely reach out to Shelly. Don't let fractional CMO, all these words, whatever. I say
right,
fractional CMO for me, fractional
right,
CMO for her. Don't let all those words intimidate you. It's
right.
really just a title and what it is, and it's really,
Yeah,
she
yeah.
wants to serve you and find out how she can support you. So again, if you just
Mhm.
started yesterday or last year, this year, please reach out to Shelly. I highly, highly recommend it.
Mhm.
Shelly, before we close it out, I have
Yes,
one last question.
sure.
What is one advice you would give any other woman building their dreams?
Well, I would say make sure that you have the right support system in place.
Hmm.
I think that is vitally important. And that looks different for every person. So that to me goes along in alignment with the vision of the company, and where are you going to get your support, because the fact of the matter is, as us women entrepreneurs, we do everything.
Yep.
We've got the family, we've got the kids, we got the pets, which are like the kids,
Hmm. Sometimes
and
work.
we've got the business. Yeah. Yeah, and we've got the business, and we've got to figure it all this out. And sometimes it's a little scary. And we're not meant to do life alone.
Mm-mm.
We're meant to do it together. And that's one of the things that I love about Hey Boo. The first time that I went to an Hey Boo event, it was, to me, it was foundational because, I just felt connected. And I think, a lot of other women feel that way as well. And, you have many, many different choices of networking groups. And if anyone is out there and doing life alone, I really, really encourage you, at the very least, to explore networking groups and find out which is the right one for you. Because by the time I came and met you, Mary Grace, and Hey Boo and Social Register, I have had my experiences with networking groups.
Oh, wow.
And they have not been positive ones.
Mm-hmm.
But I can say this. Sometimes you have to go through the difficult
Yeah.
to realize when the blessing shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not going to forget about it. You're going to feel that connection. And that's what I love about Hey Boo, because it is a network of women entrepreneurs. And you're going to feel that, you're going to get that connection. And, that's so very important that, us as women can connect with other women because we go through similar struggles. And, it's different than a man's perspective, not saying anything against men, but, it's just different because, we live in a time where, like women have to do everything. Mm-hmm. And, we need that support. We need to be recharged. We even need that, I think of it as a form of rest. And rest is so vitally important because, if you talk to a person that never takes a vacation and is constantly just go and run and run and run, and I'm sorry, that person is going to burn out. I used to be that person. I can tell you that. I speak from personal experience. So that's why you got to take your rest. You got to take your time away. Maybe it's meeting with your fellow sisters in Hey Boo. Maybe it's, and many have a relationship with the Lord. They need that to recharge because you can't allow your fuel tank to get on empty. It's got to be, you got to fuel it up so you can keep on driving. Yeah. So that's vitally, vitally important. So I think that every, a woman, needs women around her to be uplifted, to be encouraged, to know that if she needs help in some areas, and maybe it's not business related, maybe she's just got to talk about stuff just to be heard, and that's just so vitally important. So, I encourage everyone to, to search out, your boo sister or your sister in whatever area. And so that you're not alone, because we live in a time where mental challenges are very, very prevalent. And we don't want to get to the point where we feel like it's hopeless. There's always hope. We just need to find it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Shelly. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
I told you you're so wise. I told you I have this wealth of information. I don't know what to say after this. It's truly an honor to have you as a boo sister, Shelly. I've met with so many other sisters who have shared that you are valuable to them and they love seeing you at the events. You just bring this, this kind-hearted spirit to the events. And so it's been a true honor to have you, and it has been an honor to have this time with you and learn more about you and really share those nuggets with the fellow boo sisters here today. Again, I strongly recommend, if you are listening to this, please get connected to Shelly. Again, don't let any of that intimidate you, even as a resource, even as a connection, even as a sister. Shelly hit on a part about being in a community and just having support. And sometimes Shelly hit on it. Sometimes you just need to be heard. Like sometimes you just need to say it and then you're like, oh, okay, I'm good now.
Yeah.
Like moving on.
Yeah. Yeah. You do.
Yeah, you do. So definitely find that community if you're not part of the Hey Boo community, because it's very, very important. I tried to do life alone before when I was younger, and I know how that can feel, to feel lonely and not know if you're the only one going through it or feeling that you're the only one going through
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you again, Shelly. Get connected with Shelly. All of her information will be in the description. And if you are a Hey Boo sister and haven't had your interview, please send us a message at marygrace@ohheyboo.com and let's get you connected and on the Meet a Boo interview. All right.
Right.
Talk to you soon, Shelly. Bye.
Okay. Bye bye.